Hey, hello, welcome to the show. It's me, John Park, your surprise guest host for Show and Tell this evening. Very nice to have you along for the ride. Thanks for stopping by. We have our chat happening over on our Discord server. If you want to join in, go check that out. It's at adafru.it/Discord. Look for the live broadcast chat channel. And what are we doing here? Well, we've got a few people from the Adafruit team as well as the community here to show off some projects that they're working on, some things they're doing, stuff they're hacking on. So it's going to surprise me too. Let's find out what people have brought. If you would like to show and tell, all you have to do is look for our blog post about it or head to the aforementioned Discord server and look for our link to StreamYard. Just need to enable camera and microphone on your browser, and then you'll be able to join in and spend a couple minutes talking about the stuff you're working on. And then after the show, you can go grab yourself a snack and tune in for Ask an Engineer, which will be happening at 8 o'clock Eastern Time. So without further ado, let's jump into things here. We'll start off with Jepler. Howdy, Jeff.
Hello. So I've continued to work with this Adafruit Flopsy prototype. I've got two of them, and this one, you can't see it here, but I've had to add a little extra wire because these connectors were missing their voltage connection. So next up, what I'll be working on in the coming week is we've got the Apple style 20-pin floppy connector here, and then we'll take an index sensor and we'll hopefully be able to copy flux off of a disk using the Apple II Disk 2 drive mechanism. We've done that before, but not with the Flopsy board. So that's what's coming up. But I want to show you what I got working this week. Yep. So I'm going to tilt the camera down and we'll try to see the computer here. And the lighting is weird, specifically because I wanted to try and get the monitor visible. But here's the Flopsy. Yep. I've disconnected the real floppy drive. It's a compact Pentium 3. Disconnected the real floppy drive and plugged it into the Adafruit Flopsy here. And I'm running a firmware. It's in a pull request on the Adafruit Floppy GitHub repo to emulate Floppy. So it's going to be one board that's going to do both flux copying, but also potentially drive emulation. So you can't read it here, but I'm ready to hit enter to boot from the A floppy, which is Flopsy here. And it's just going to boot a very simple program, but one that I think is pretty cool. And that is somebody has invented a Tetris that is less than 512 bytes big, and so it fits within a boot sector.
That's
and
great.
As an Easter egg in our floppy emulator, I would like us to have this as the default floppy image if you haven't put any floppy images on your SD card.
I like it.
Because right here, this is the SD card. You can put all your floppy images on it, but it's not inserted, so it's defaulting to this little Easter egg.
That's
of
neat.
Boot sector Tetris. But right now, this is emulating a 1.44 meg floppy, but ostensibly it will emulate all four of the common PC formats: the 320, the 1.2 megabyte, which were 5.25 inch floppies, and then the 720 and 1.4 megabyte, 3.5 inch floppies. So just continuing to work on that and make sure that all these capabilities that we're building into the Flopsy board actually work, and finding a few things along the way that need to be improved. So like a conversation we were having was, people get this, and if they're using it as a drive emulator, they're going to want to plug the computer power connector into this to power it. And we're saying, I wonder if that works. Well, we've only got a couple of prototypes, so don't plug it in just to find out.
I see a Molex connector. I'm plugging power into that.
Yeah, you're going to want to plug that in, but we'll either make sure it works, or we'll put warnings on the guides once this is a product. But anyway, floppy stuff, it's happening. It's I will maybe talk about that in a week or two.
Okay.
I do have, we've talked about it a lot. The Xerox 820 down there with the dual 8-inch floppies. And if you go look at that pull request, you'll see that there is code for FM modulation. So the IBM PCs all used MFM modulation, where M is slightly better. That thing uses an older style called FM. And I'm also working on getting the code ready for that, but I haven't actually tried the Adafruit Flopsy board with that. I have emulated it with a Gotek, and so I think it's very likely to work. It's a little bit niche, but yeah, if we can do it, we will. So thanks for that question.
This whole thing is a little bit niche, so it's niche.
It is a niche of a niche, and but we've got enough people who are interested in it. So yeah.
Love it.
All
Excellent.
right.
Well,
Thank you, John.
so much, Jeff. We'll see you next time. Floppies. All right. Next up, we've got Melissa is back. Hey there, Melissa. Nice to see you.
Hi. So I've been working on a little project here just on my own because I took some time off. And I'm going to go ahead and tilt the camera down here to show you. Fancy setup to do it. Let's see. Okay, there. You can kind of see both. I have a couple different rolls of the LEDs here. Let me move them on the camera. And I just have these hooked up to ESP32s, and they are running WLED software. And so I have it so that I have this little remote control I have a little infrared sensor connected to one, so I can go ahead and control it, and then they're synced together, so then they don't actually have to be like next to each other to change here.
Mm-hmm.
And then I also have it connected to Home Assistant, and it can do Alexa emulation, so I can say like, Alexa, set window lights to red. And then it changes it there.
Nice.
And then I also have some stuff programmed in because there's a web interface to set it. So I can just hit like the buttons here, and I have like a different kind of Christmassy light animation. And then here's another one for like, it's kind of hard to see on camera, but this one's more orange. And so it's a good Halloween one, for instance. So you can set like different effects for different seasons. And so the idea is to have them hung on the windows like year-round Christmas lights, and then I can just set them for whatever holiday it is.
Oh, that's great. And when you said they are synced to each other, so are the two ESP32s able to talk to each other via Wi-Fi, or is it through the network?
Yeah, it's a feature of WLED where you can sync the different microcontrollers together.
Mm-hmm. And then you also have an IR receiver on one of them? Is that where you're
I just got it off of Amazon. It was just like a $5 remote or something.
Yeah. Oh, that's really cool. Thanks for bringing that on, Melissa, and good to see you.
Thanks.
All right. Let's see. Next up, we've got Brent. Howdy, Brent.
Hey, John.
What's new?
We love making niche stuff that a lot of people will like, right?
It's the
so
absolutely.
The past few weeks I've been working on this like project of sorts, I guess. It's not out. I don't know when it will be out, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
We're making like an offline mode for Adafruit.io.
Mm-hmm.
So like these devices that if you've used this like new WhipperSnapper software we have, you like create a board, you choose a board, and then you like attach USB. And currently it just works online. Like the board needs an ESP32 or some type of Wi-Fi processor. But now we're going to do an offline mode as well. So like you'll be able to actually take a device and convert it between online and offline if you want to log data to the internet, or if you want to log data to an SD card. And it'll be all like configured through like the same editor we use for Adafruit.io, WhipperSnapper. So like it's all totally visual way to build a board, and then we'll be able to take this board and actually export it. So like we're doing one firmware of WhipperSnapper, but it works both ways. So like you'll get this like JSON file, and it's like human readable, which is nice. So if someone wants to like modify it, they can just modify it and it parses on the fly.
Great.
Yeah, so if you're like, oh, I set up the wrong pin and I don't want to go back into Adafruit.io and do it, or you're in the field or you're an educator, you can just like open this JSON file up. It's human readable. We picked it on purpose so people could just modify it as they go. So you take this, you put it on your Whipper drive, and then I have this like all simulated. So I've been using this, like, you might be interested in this. I've been using this like Walkway simulator, which is this like community project. But like this is it like really expanded. Like I got it running WhipperSnapper, which is like hard to do to begin with. So we have like this ESP32 wired up to a micro SD breakout, also to this RTC. So like Yeah, the breakout doesn't yet work in the simulator, but like it can be used for detecting the presence of an SD card, which is all we're doing.
Uh-huh.
And then like we have this RTC, which actually does work, and it's the Adafruit one, which is nice. And then we have like these two potentiometers that you can move,
Hmm.
and they're both wired to analog pins and a push button.
That's cool.
So
Yeah.
if you start it, it's actually like running what you would see on a device. So like it's running WhipperSnapper. This is version 2, so like this is not out. This is like the very new one.
Hmm.
And it like searches for the RTC that it finds one. We're supporting 4 different RTCs. And then like it picks up the JSON string. Right now it's like hard coded. And then it like validates it, it reads in the data, it like takes a check-in process, and it's like, oh, I found these 3 components. So it like picks them all up like 1, 2, 3, and adds them to this buffer, and then one by one it spits them back out to the hardware really fast and dynamically creates these like sensors on the hardware. So like we're taking JSON and like creating hardware from a JSON file.
That's amazing.
And then yeah, thank you. And then like it starts logging like immediately. So like here's all the pins that are logging, and we're using this like this will be logged in SD card. And we're not doing CSV because it's really hard to read when like a CSV file breaks. We're actually doing this like JSON file called JSON lines. So each line includes like a timestamp, the pin, the value emanated from the pin, and then like the SI unit. So like if we increase it, it'll show the change in each of them, or if we push the button, it will immediately show the change. So like this will be expanded eventually to like have more components, handle like I2C sensors. So like any ESP32 that has an SD card can run this. We're going to do it for like the Pico. So it's like totally hardware agnostic, but it's going to be like the fastest way to set up like a sensor like logger that just runs offline.
Amazing.
And yeah.
Wow.
That's what we're working on.
that's a really big update.
Yeah.
What's your, do you dare say any sort of rough timelines for when things are going to get pushed out there into the world?
Beginning of 2025. We have like some exciting, like this is actually part of like the V2 for WhipperSnapper. So like this is like the new stable API. So like we're going to release like WhipperSnapper for Python first, which will be like for Raspberry Pi. And then we'll do WhipperSnapper Arduino. And this is actually bundled into like the like version 1 for WhipperSnapper Arduino. So like we're getting 2 things done at once. And
yeah. Oh, it's great.
January, February probably is my guess.
Fantastic. Thanks for that huge update. Really appreciate it. Really great work. And I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, Brent.
I'm looking forward to using it too.
Excellent.
Bye, John.
Awesome stuff. All right. Next up, we got Liz. Hello, Liz.
Hello. So over my shoulder here is the screen of a Raspberry Pi 5 that's on my desk. And it is running the newest project that I worked on this week with Noe, and it is an NFC Raspberry Pi media player. And right now it just has its little splash screen, which is reminiscent of the old school DVD menus. And you just hope that Blinka might find her way into the corner at some point. But if you get bored of that, you can use an NFC card. And each card is associated with a movie file that's on the M.2 drive that's on the Pi. So I will choose the family-friendly, fantastic Mr. Fox. And my drive just rebooted itself. This is a video synth I'm working on. I'll talk about next week. I'm just going to change my input back to the Pi. And I'm going to take the NFC card and I'm going to scan it on our NFC reader. And then you'll see that VLC pops up and Fantastic Mr. Fox starts playing full screen. Excellent. And I have a keyboard here. I'll just fast forward just to like truly prove we got some Fantastic Mr. Fox. And then when I quit out of VLC, we go back to our splash screen. So you could, in theory, keep this as like a media player that you can use. I think a really cool application of it would be if you had little kids, you could put like a bunch of like Sesame Street episodes or Mr. Rogers episodes, and they could have a Sesame Street card and they could play like a random Sesame Street episode.
Love it.
But this is all documented in the guide, including, honestly, the hardest part was getting the M.2 drive with the M.2 hat to show up as an extra drive and mount every time. So if you've been wanting to do that and have had problems, definitely check out that page. And there's this Python script which uses Blinka with the NFC hat, but then there's also a Python script that lets you add a card to a movie file really easily, so you don't have to hand edit the CSV file. And
Such
that's
a great
all.
project.
Thank you. And that's all on Learn right now.
Love it. Yeah. So you're doing rips of films in just kind of any format that VLC is happy to play, and then
I used mainly MP4s, but anything that VLC plays could in theory be used. So.
Yeah, that's a really neat compact kind of all-in-one media player project with my favorite twist being some sort of physical artifacts used to launch. Great.
Fun fact I discovered, I used to use a train pass every day when I was working at BMC, and the Boston train passes apparently use the same NFC protocol as the ones we sell in the shop. So I was able to use them with this project, which was nice.
Wait, is that what I recognized on the back of your? You have
there's
some card there.
that was my zone and like the little tap thing. Yeah.
Oh, that's really funny.
Yeah.
Really nice. Oh, well, thanks so much for all the work on that, and I'm looking forward to putting one of those together. That's a really cool project.
Nice.
Thanks, Liz. Take care.
No problem. Have a good one.
You too. All right, and next up we've got Nate. Hey, Nate.
Hey, how's it going, John?
Good. What's new? What you got?
Great. Well, what I've got is a really simple little project. It's a little screen, and it's got an RP2040. Actually, it's a sawed-off RP2040. I mean, yeah, I did it, and then I decided I'd use it for some project. And so I'm just really, it's not to look at really so much. It's just an interesting thing. The thing I did was on the back, it's got one of those magnet, pogo pin magnet connectors.
Nice.
And so let's say you had like some other project, like a logging. This is a logger. It's doing something for me. I forget. But it's logging away. And I've also put the old magnet connector on there. So let's just, now this is going to siphon power off of it. And so this is reminiscent of the old V2, like VT100s and the VT200 terminals, you know. So all it is doing is just, you know, kind of being a terminal emulator type thing.
That's cool.
Yeah. So, I mean, this is a really kind of thing. Now I'm going to be able to use this for other projects if I want to, you know, just take it right off, and it's kind of reusable.
Yeah. That's neat. Yeah, you have your own little portable terminal form factor and protocol there. So you get, is that a 4-pin magnet?
Yeah, it's a little 4-pin magnet connector. It comes right out of the shop. You guys have them. And yeah, I bought a couple of them. I said, I've got to do something with this, but this turned out to be a good thing. And then
I love this. Well, I'll tell you, I haven't used those in any projects, but I was imagining using, I think we have some cables to use with them. And I don't know if I've seen anyone think, well, forget the cables. I'm just going to make them little docking ports to
right. So you can modular stuff. Yeah,
that's really great. I love it. Thanks for bringing that on, Nate. Have you considered putting that up as some notes somewhere, like on Playground or anywhere, so that people can play along?
Yeah, I could easily do that. I mean, I just have to find the time to do that. But yeah,
yes, of course.
I'll do it.
That's great. We appreciate it.
Sure thing.
Thanks, Nate. All right. Have a good one. We'll see you next time. Hey, thanks everyone so much for bringing by your super cool projects. Really good stuff. Now my wheels are turning and I've got a bunch of new things I want to build. Hopefully you feel the same. So thanks also for coming and watching and hanging out over in our chats. And if you want to stick around or go grab yourself a beverage or something like that, we will be back with Ask an Engineer in about 10 minutes or so. So come on by for that. Thanks, everyone. For Adafruit Industries, I'm John Park. This has been Show and Tell, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.